All right, I met up with Paleo Chris, and Chris is going to take us to a really cool fossil site today. But first, check out this awesome spring behind us. We decided to meet here, and it looks so cool that I think before we go fossil hunting, I might jump in and take a swim.
Me too.
All right, let's do it. All right, here's Chris's canoe. We've got it all loaded up with our gear we need, and we've got about a couple mile paddle to get to the spot. So we're going to jump in and go. So after a quick swim in that spring, Chris and I make our way upstream to the fossil site. We're headed back to an area that's been ultra productive for us. When Chris originally discovered this location, he found some amazing fossils, including a beautifully preserved jaguar canine tooth, which is an extremely awesome and rare fossil to discover. After that discovery, Chris was kind enough to invite me along for a second look, and during that dive, I found more than a few great fossils, including a really sweet mackerel shark's tooth. Something about this gravel bed keeps us coming back. This spot is special because the gravel is very compacted, which indicates it's never been looked through by humans before. Completely virgin, never sifted, fanned, or searched. This location also sits on an area of the river that runs incredibly clear. This is a nice change of pace for me since most of the areas I dive are dark, tannic-stained water with only several inches of visibility. On today's hunt, we'll have many feet of visibility, and since the gravel is so compacted, Chris and I will be able to spend most of the day in one small area, gently fanning the gravel to uncover and expose the fossils. We'll be able to get side by side underwater and methodically work our way through the gravel bed. Let's see what we can find. All right, Chris, this is the spot right here?
This is the spot right here.
All right, so we made it to the spot. It was a little bit of a paddle. We're gonna head out right here and go down and see what we can find. You ready?
Yep.
Let's do it. Oh man, Chris.
What? What am I looking at?
When I saw that, I was like, first of all, I was like, where's Chris? And luckily you were like right there. That was so cool.
Are you kidding me?
Dude, you've been diving this river a lot longer than I have, man.
I have never seen one that big from this river. This is the best shark tooth I've ever seen come out of this river. I've been diving this river for a long time. I have friends that have been diving this river for decades. That's the best shark tooth I've ever seen come out of this river, hands down. So Auriculatus shark tooth, Eocene, the great-great-great-grandfather of the Megalodon. It doesn't get much better than that. That's a killer Florida fossil right there.
Wow. So that's older than Megalodon.
Way older. You're talking 3 times older. And look at the conditions still.
Oh my gosh, it's perfect. Wow. What a find, man.
Wow.
Dude, thank
congratulations,
you so much for putting
man.
me on
Dude,
that.
I'm so happy. It was worth your trip.
Oh, that is a trip maker if I've ever seen one.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Wow. Look at that.
I'm so stoked.
I can't stop holding it. It's so smooth.
I was not expecting a shark's tooth today. I'm like, you know, you got me all pumped up with this jaguar tooth, and I'm thinking carnivore.
Right.
And there's no other shark's teeth. I wasn't finding little shark's teeth or anything. And then all of a sudden, just one hand swoop.
So sharp. Oh. I'm blown away, man. You got to get that away from me. I'm jealous.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to tuck that somewhere safe. That is definitely my tooth of the year, hands down. I mean, I've got Megs that are big, and I've got stuff like that, and I've got some little auriculatus shark's teeth, but this is big, and it's old, and it's an auriculatus shark's tooth, and look at the colors. Only the colors you get out of a river like this. You would never get this out of Venice or the Peace River or Darkwater River. This is very, very cool. This is really special. This is a great tooth. I am so happy with that. All right, so I've got that auriculatus shark's tooth home, and it dried out really, really cool. Loving the colors. The root really came out light. And what I wanted to do real quick is I wanted to measure this tooth to see exactly how big it is. But before I do that, I wanted to show you exactly how to measure a shark's tooth and the significance that just 1 inch can have. So I've laid a few teeth out here. These are all Megalodon shark's teeth that I've discovered. In fact, this one here is the very first Megalodon shark's tooth I ever found. I discovered it in the Peace River, and this is what got me hooked on looking for fossils. But I've laid them out from 1 inch to 5 inch. So we've got a 1 inch little baby Meg here. We've got a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5 inch tooth. And you can tell just the difference between a 4 inch tooth and a 5 inch tooth is. It's pretty significant. So when you say that somebody found a 3 or a 4 inch Meg, it's quite the difference. So with that knowledge in mind, let's go ahead and measure the auriculatus shark's tooth. One important thing about measuring shark's teeth is we always take the longest side. So you can see on this tooth here, from root to tip is where we're going to measure. But from root to tip on this side is shorter, and from root to tip on this side is longer. We're always going to take the longer side, and that's the official measurement. Now, before I measure this auriculatus shark's tooth, let me show you an auriculatus shark's tooth I found recently. Now, I know for sure that this one here is 3 inches. This is the one I discovered just recently, and the video is up on my YouTube channel. You can check it out. And that is 3 inches. I'm pretty excited to see how big the one I just found is, because it is substantially bigger. Well, look at that. It's a monster tooth. I'm hoping it's 4 inches. If it hits the 4 inch mark, that puts it on the upper threshold of these teeth. They really only get to be about 4 inch. All right, so I've got the calipers open to about 3.5 inches because I'm pretty sure it's at least that big. And this here is the small side. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze that in there. This is about 3.7, but that's the short side of the tooth. So I'm going to flip it around here. And let's see. All right, so that is the official measurement. 3.8 inches. So it didn't quite hit that 4 inch mark, but that is still a monster tooth. Just shy of 4 inches. It is definitely a huge auriculatus shark's tooth. And again, this tooth here is much older than Megalodon, and it's quite different too. You can see on the auriculatus shark's tooth that it had the side cusps here, and that the root is much more bulbous compared to a Megalodon shark's tooth where there are no side cusps and the root's just much thinner. And this is the evolution here. It started as a very kind of a crude tooth, and over millions and millions of years it was more refined, and eventually you end up with this tooth. All right, so it's 3.8 inches. What a monster. Super, super happy with it. And again, a huge shout out to my good friend Paleo Chris for taking me to such an epic spot. Definitely going to want to check out his channel because he's out finding cool stuff like this all the time. I'll put the link in the description below. If you guys like this video, please hit the like and subscribe because I've got some really cool hunts coming up you're not going to want to miss. Stay tuned because next week I'll be posting some behind the scenes footage of one of my favorite collaborations to date. Chris and I team up with Coyote Peterson and the Brave Wilderness crew and take them on a fossil hunting adventure. Of course, you can't take Coyote Peterson anywhere without catching some wildlife. And we find some really great fossils, but I'm also going to show you some footage you're not going to see on the official channel, like when one of their cameramen accidentally crashed the drone into the river and we had to go scuba dive to retrieve it. So stay tuned, hit that like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss it. All right, so the Brave crew lost their drone. Coyote, you said that was what number drone you've lost?
Only our second one in like 5.5 years, so that's pretty good.